Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the school committee meeting to order for July 25th, 2022. Please stand and salute the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Just a reminder to, if you have any cell phones or electronic devices, if you would put them on silent, vibrate, shut them off, it would be appreciated. Just also want to let you know that this meeting is being broadcast by our Dartmouth High School media, and it is live stream, and it's also available during the week on both Channel 9 and Channel 18, and we appreciate everything that they do for us. Roll call, please, Ms. Gunther.
John Nunes.
Yep.
Mary Waite.
Here.
Kathleen Amaral.
Here.
Shannon Jenkins.
Here.
Chris Oliver.
Mr. Oliver, unfortunately, is on his way home and stuck in traffic, so safe travels, my friend. Okay, first order of business, we've allotted 10 minutes for any of the items that are on the agenda tonight. If anybody wishes to speak, don't all speak. Okay, that takes care of that. All right, next order of business will be the regular session minutes of June 27th, 2022.
I wasn't here,
Yeah.
so I'm not going to move them.
Yeah, hello.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Amaral.
Second.
Thank you. Second by Ms. Wade. On the motion, any discussion? Chair hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And I will abstain.
Abstentions? Dr. Jenkins will abstain. And the executive session minutes for the same date?
So moved.
Yeah, with the usual stipulation that they be held until matters for which they were intended is complete. Okay.
I'll second that.
And Ms. Amaral will second them. On the motion, any discussion? Chair hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
And I will
That is-
abstain.
Dr. Jenkins will abstain. Thank you. All right. Old business, superintendents, before we do that, my colleagues will indulge me for a second. I'm just going to, as I talked to Dr. Gifford today, I did say I was going to embarrass her, and she said, please not much, but I'm going to anyway. I just, in all seriousness, want to congratulate our superintendent, Dr. Bonnie Gifford, who was honored a couple of weeks ago by the Massachusetts Association of School Superintendents, which awarded her the Christus Dulis Award at their annual summer conference. And it recognizes one superintendent each year for making a difference in the lives of students, particularly by using effective communication within their roles as a superintendent. And as you go on and read the article, it's interesting because Dr. Gifford is saying, you know, she was on the committee that was voting and everything else, and everybody else voted for her, so she kind of got bamboozled and blindsided. So, you know, which is good. But in all seriousness, Doc, congratulations, well deserved.
Congratulations.
Thank you very
So-
much. Appreciate that.
Thank you to my committee members for allowing me to indulge in that. And, you know, yes, I know what it's like to be, you know.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, thank you.
So, old business, superintendent's evaluation presentation, committee comments. Now, we did have a wonderful presentation at our last meeting by Dr. Gifford and such, and we're going to, you know, just continue if there are any questions for Dr. Gifford or such. We had talked about, of course, Ms. Amaral and I have the privilege of putting all of this stuff together and such. And as I'm looking at my schedule, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, I think it's going to be September.
It's fine with me.
Because August just blew up on me, so.
It's like next week. It's like next week.
Yeah, but, you know, by the next meeting
Yeah.
is not going to work, so.
I did.
If we can
I
do that
did-
in September.
I did just put the form, just the basic form that you all used before, uploaded that like last week into the drive. So,
Yeah.
yeah, if you had that,
So
yeah.
that's fine, but I don't know if there are any comments or any other discussions? Dr. Jenkins, I know you weren't here type of deal. If anything you need to be brought up to date on or up to
Luckily, everything
speed.
is available on the magic
Yeah.
internet, so I can get the documents and the presentation.
Yeah, it's all there.
The only question I have, so timing, when do you want, I mean, as we've done it in the past, we've filled it out and then provided it to whoever's doing that. Do we have deadlines for that? Have we established that already?
We haven't established that. I
Okay.
mean, we've got a meeting August 22nd, so I mean, at that point in time, we'll come up with a final deadline.
Okay.
So that we can, Ms. Amaral and I can, can meet and put everything
Yep.
together, then meet with Dr. Gifford and, shoot for, I think it's a September 11th meeting that we have.
That's fine.
So, to work at that, so we don't, no disrespect, we don't need to beat ourselves up at this point in time to do that, if that's good with everybody. Okay,
Okay.
very good. Okay, that takes care of that. Other old business. Mr. Kiley, welcome back. Update on maintenance projects.
Thank you. So, it's been a busy summer so far, and working through the heat, I think, has been particularly challenging for our maintenance team. But they've gotten a lot done already. The things that we've made the most headway on so far are the HVAC upgrades that we're continuing to make on the control systems in the buildings. Big project. We're pretty well through most of it, with the exception of the high school, which was going to be what we're tackling next. We are doing, if you happen to drive by Town Hall or go around the back of Town Hall, you'll see that there's a big opening in the wall at the middle school. We're replacing the freezer and the cooler there as part of some food service upgrades that I had mentioned previously. So that's going very well, and we're going to be on track for completion of those projects. We're also going to be, hopefully this week or early next week, tearing up the parking lot in between the old and new building at the Potter School, so to the right of the main entrance. And there's an underground storage tank that we're going to be removing when we used to heat with oil, and then we'll be paving that area, which needed to happen anyway. That was on our paving list. It's a real mess. So we figured while we're doing that, we'll take care of the underground storage tank. So you'll see that coming up. We're also working very hard on the grease trap replacement, which is way more complicated than I knew how it was going to work, but I didn't know that in spots we had 19 inches of concrete on top of these old metal grease traps, and it's really just, it's quite a task, and a lot of it is handwork by people, and it's, so we're getting a lot done, though. The other thing that's happening is the stadium storage building. We have the foundation in, so that's good progress. We'll be moving forward with that as soon as we can from there. We had received a request from one of the members of the select board to pull together a meeting of the committee that hasn't met since pre-COVID, that had been working on the stadium renovations. So that had been, your representative had been Mr. Oliver to that group. So I assume that we're going to continue in that direction unless you folks tell me something differently. Mr. Tattlebaum, Mr. Mickelson were representing the select board, I think intend to continue. Mr. McInnes was involved, and Ms. Ham was also part of that, so I'd certainly invite her. And basically, they just want to have a discussion about moving that project forward and what that would look like. As you know, the bid that, we received for that, the low bid that we received for that project was really out of this world, almost $6.5 million. So that isn't viable. But I think there's still an interest to hopefully accomplish that project at some point. So I think that's the motive for the discussion anyway, which is certainly worthwhile having. So I'll be pulling that together in the next couple of weeks for that. And that's, those are the big items. There's lots of smaller items that we're working on, like the library here, which is now entirely freshly painted in a light gray, which is going to match the new furniture and new rug and everything when we
a
get
nice
to
job.
renovate this, which will actually be completed during the school year this year.
Have you been able to do the tennis courts?
So I was speaking, so I met with Mr. McGinnis today about several things, and one of the things that he is talking to the select board about is the this is in relation to the tennis courts, in case people didn't hear. So so that was slated to come out of ARP funds. So I think he was seeking clarification from the select board as to the allocation of those funds. So I think it's going to be on track, from what I understand. So it looks like it will be. And so then we will move forward as soon as we have a source of funds to do so. So, yeah, it'll be nice. Yeah. That's on our plan. We have a lot on our plan still. But we have, we're doing pretty well, considering.
Good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Any other questions, Kathleen? Dr. Jenkins?
So related to, you had several improvements related to cafeterias, grease traps, the freezer. The state just in the budget put forward the proposal to make meals free to continue that. What impact will that have on our budget and our operations? Did we plan for that? Are we going to have to change things? Are we going to have to pivot on that?
It's great for us. So, it's great for the kids, number one, most importantly, and families and supporting everyone. I was surprised, but, very pleasantly surprised by the move by the state legislature. So they do deserve a lot of credit for that. It's going to be a positive result in terms of the cash flow into the cafeteria program for the year. Now, it's a temporary result, and it's not something that will, support us beyond that unless, the legislature, state legislature, or the feds decide to act on it down the road. But from a temporary basis, it'll have a significant financial impact, which is why we're targeting things like replacing these long-term assets like freezers and coolers that have been in place since those sections of the schools were constructed. So in a lot of cases, you're talking about 50-year old equipment or more in some cases. So it's been nice that we're able to address that with this. But we also have to consider, operational costs and looking at things like staffing and immediate needs in those areas are a little more complicated to address with these funds because they are sort of one-time funds unless we have some indication otherwise, which we have none at this point. So.
Can I also ask in terms of operations, and I'm not sure the extent to which this was a pandemic thing or a free thing. If I remember correctly, I get some feedback from my kids about limited options in the high school cafeteria, in part because, right, when you're giving everyone free, you can't have 5 selections. Some things are more expensive than others. I think it's safe to say that wasn't entirely popular with the kids. So I'm sort of interested in how this is there going to be like one free option and then kids can select something else? Are we going to continue with limited choices? How is this going to impact the sorts of choices that are available? And that's particularly, I think, at the high school where they have the most choices for lunch.
Yeah, you're right. It certainly impacts this building more than the others, but it does have an impact everywhere. And to be honest, I don't have a solution as to how we can avoid having some impact there. It's just, we've been producing more meal, well, first of all, with essentially the same staff, we have produced a significant amount more meals than ever before, which is kudos to the staff, but I don't really see a solution, given the logistics of our kitchens and staffing, that we can provide some level of service where, you know, there's lots of choices for everyone, given that we have to be able to serve everyone. So it does have that impact, that's true.
I'm fine. I just was
Yeah.
curious about that because I think
Right.
that was one of my kids'
Yeah.
chief complaints
mean, we're
about
s-
their last few years of high school.
Yeah, we still always want that feedback, and,
Right.
and I know, you know, Gene Sheridan, our Director of Nutrition, is always open to ideas and feedback and, you know, actively involved in, you know, trying to provide the best options possible, but there is some realistic, you know,
Yeah.
limitations because of this, for sure, so.
That's
And I
all,
think
thank you.
there's- and correct me if I'm wrong, but that goes back to some students not being able to get doubles at lunches, that,
Yeah.
because of the fact that there's a limited amount to what they can, you
I
know.
think we also had some, we didn't have as many choices.
Yeah.
True.
Right? Because
Yeah.
you're serving so much more, you can only,
You can
there's
only,
only so much you can handle in terms of
you
variety.
can only cook so much in one setting type of deal.
Right.
right?
That's true.
But if, you know, that's good. Okay, anybody else, anything else on maintenance and such? Thank you, Mr. Kiley. New business, South Coast Educational Collaborative, motion and vote on a capital reserve fund. Dr. Gifford?
Sure. So at our last board meeting, obviously this was brought to us, the executive board, and it was passed unanimously for us to bring it to our respective school committees. And as you can see, the collaborative wants to set up a reserve fund for those kinds of projects, such as what we just discussed. So this, the initial deposit was will be $25,000, which was in the budget plan for this year, next year, and would require 2/3 of the member district's vote, positive vote. So we bring it to our school committees for that vote. So.
Questions, comments? Okay, I will let my committee members know that I'm going to be voting no on this. It's a personal preference to sit here and set a capital reserve balance for $3 million, in my opinion, and this is just me, is a little out of the ordinary. I mean, if, you know, at $25,000 a year, they'll never get there. Number one, in all seriousness, and number two, to have a capital reserve of that amount, just, again, to me, does not make sense. I mean, I don't know what they have in, what their OPEB liability is or anything of that nature, but, you know, the
big.
may be better, yeah, like everybody else.
Yeah.
You know, they may be better off also putting, you know, some money towards that. So I, as one person, I'm going to vote no, just so you guys are aware. Dr. Jenkins?
So, we create this fund, right? Can you walk me through, talk a little bit about how decisions are made to, say we get up to $500,000 in this? What are the, how are decisions made to expend from this capital fund? There's, you know, pretty extensive checks and balances on the expenditures of capital funds here on the town side. What sorts of procedures would there be for the collaborative
It
on
would
this?
just come before the board, which is all
You'll-
superintendents and whatever project there is, but as Mr.
So it only requires a vote of the superintendent. It
Once
doesn't-
the-
It doesn't have to
It's-
come before the committees.
Right, once that is established, right.
It would be that board.
Yeah,
That
I
would-
mean,
Yeah.
I don't necessarily have a problem with establishing a fund to, you know, to saving for a rainy day in case we
Right.
need to do these
Right.
things. But, you know, one of our responsibilities is a fiduciary of this district, and I just have concerns that, that substantial outlays of essentially, you know, school money would be expended without sort of some checks and balances. When we approve, capital projects, it's got to go to the capital committee, and then it's got to be approved by the finance committee, and then town meeting, right? There is a process that puts checks and balances on those expenditures, and for me personally, I think that's good, right? I think having multiple layers of review is good. So I will say that as proposed, I have some issues with this. I don't have issues with the concept, but I think there needs to be greater checks and balances on the expenditure of that.
I don't have a problem with the, I don't have a problem with the concept of my concern is, I want to put $3 million, up to $3 million into this fund, and that's where I
So
get.
we both have concerns. They're closely related, but not the same.
Not the same. I mean, if they
Yes.
wanted to have a capital fund is fine. I have, because you're gonna, as you read, for what it is, and if they've got to have
Right.
money to buy vans and things of that nature, I'm good with that. I totally understand type of deal, but to just say, I want to have $3 million, up to $3 million in a capital reserve fund, doesn't quite, no disrespect, doesn't quite sit well with me in this area type of deal. I'm open to being changed, my opinion being changed, but at this point in time, I'm not there.
I guess I would just follow up to say again, my reasoning is a little bit different, right?
Yeah, no,
But I'm not ready to support this at this point in time. I think it needs to go back to the drawing board to create those checks and balances on those expenditures. And I'm just, this is feedback to Dr. Gifford.
Yeah.
With some greater checks and balances, I could be convinced. Mr. Nunes, maybe not, but I think I could be brought on board if we have a process to ensure, right? Maybe you have the district's vote at over a certain amount, but there needs to be some check on the expenditure of large amounts of money.
I share that.
So I don't know what their schedule is, or what Ms. Pendergrass or Mr. Heimbecker's schedule is, but, are they available to come to meet with us to explain? Can-
I'd have to speak.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you check with them and that type
Yeah.
of deal. So how about if we just table this for now,
Yeah.
okay?
And we can
Yeah.
get more
And
information.
get more information for us, that would be fine, I appreciate that, but that will,
Yeah, that's fine.
rather than a flat-out no, or a tie vote, which would be a no, I'm good, just good at that.
That's fine.
Okay. That's what I gotta check on, too. All right, so that's fine, thank you, ma'am.
Wow, we're already moved along.
How about that, huh? Son of a gun. Way ahead. Okay,
Yeah.
superintendent's update.
Okay, gotta get myself together here. That came too fast. Goodness gracious. Okay, so a couple of things. Actually, first I'm gonna ask Jim to report on the parent app that we have, and then I have a couple other things.
Thanks, Dr. Gifford. So we have an exciting development in our transportation department. We have rolled out a parent app that, amongst other things, provides the GPS location of your student's bus and can send push notifications so that a parent will know when the bus is about to arrive at the stop. So you can it has some variable settings. So you could say you want an alert about 5 minutes before the bus is going to arrive at the stop. That way, students can get out there, don't miss the bus.
Very useful.
It also, yeah, it's going to be nice, and it also allows us to send notifications to parents a little bit easier relating to specific buses. So if there's, for example, a maintenance issue or a traffic issue or a weather issue that's holding up a specific bus, it'll allow us to send push notifications to parents. So, obviously when parents are out waiting for the bus, they're probably not looking at an email or, and for us to be calling everyone is difficult in some situations. So for us to be able to push out those notifications quickly like that is going to be a real benefit for us, and I think improve our communication with parents. There's other added benefits to this. in that we are going to have all this information that we haven't had before, and the schools are going to have it at their fingertips. We have very good communication right now in our transportation system, but this is really just only going to enhance that and improve it. So we're really excited about this. It's been quite a bit of work getting it up and running, but we're going to be ready to go for the start of school. It's free for parents and caregivers, so everybody can just log on. We sent out the email to parents and caregivers on Friday the 15th. We have more than 700 people already signed up, which is pretty good considering we're nowhere near the start of school. Parents can request transportation changes through this as well. So, that's another added piece of it. There's, in addition to the email that we provided, the letter that we provided to all the parents, which had a QR code, which was, easily scanned and will take you right to the app. We also have information on our website about it. So that's all there, and it's on our website, dartmouth.school, under the transportation tab. There's a little bus at the top right-hand corner. Click on that, it's right on that page. So we're hoping to get as many people as possible signed up, and think it's going to be a great tool.
Good.
Dr. Jenkins?
So this is fabulous. I just want to say thank you. I do have one question, though, and this was a recurring issue. I'm not sure if anybody... The first week of school tends to be a little bit chaotic in terms of, I know, like, a lot of times our bus was like 15 minutes early on the first day of school. Hopefully the app will help with that, but can we also ask our bus drivers, like, if you show up 15 minutes early and no one's at the bus stop, wait till the time that's posted on the schedule. And then maybe we can make adjustments based on what we learn for this app. I know the times are a guesstimate, but it happened to us a couple first weeks of school where our bus was really, really, really early. And, the bus driver would stop, open the door, and we'd be running up the street, wait. So I think that might be helpful if we could, ask them in that first week of school to wait until the posted time, because people may be, using that to, hopefully this will help avoid that. They'll see the bus is coming, but.
Yeah, and not only in the way that, that the
Assuming
parent
your
will
kid is up
receive
and ready
notice.
15 minutes early, that's the big
Right,
catch right there.
No, it'll definitely help in a number of ways. Obviously the parent can see where the bus is, student can see where the bus is, by the way. We can, obviously, high school students and maybe some middle school students, may find that to be, a nice feature. But it also will help us to identify these issues, because right now we have to go through a communication process to figure out how this all works, right? And
Mr. Kaiser
now we
gets
will
20
know.
questions, 20
Yeah.
phone calls the
We're
first
gonna know
week of
exactly
school.
whether the bus, was 15 minutes early or it wasn't.
Right.
So it's gonna be a lot of data, but I think very helpful in us solving problems and making our system more efficient.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
Kathleen?
I may have been one of the first ones to sign up. It was very user-friendly. That was my experience. It seemed very straightforward, clear, easy to understand, codes there, right away, boom, you're on. I did have one question that just came to mind is, will this also have the capacity? So I received it for my in-district child, and I have a child who's out of district, and I am in great communication. I love Tremblay Bus. My son has iPads with GPS, and I know exactly why he's going around, but where he is, and so that's helpful. But if his iPad dies, is there capacity to also add on, and maybe I missed it, students who are out of district who are taking Tremblay
Yeah,
buses?
we're currently working on attempting to get it on all vehicles. There's some complications because the GPS units, the equipment we're actually using is designed for the regular school bus and not
van.
vans. But we are working on that. Our hope is to have all school transportation vehicles have it on it. And, yeah, I don't see that as,
Right.
being a problem.
Barrier.
It's something we need to solve, but I think it's solvable for sure. So yeah, it'll be great. It's going to be
Good, great.
nice.
Very?
Anything else?
Awesome.
I just think it's great. I think it's going to be tremendously helpful for the individual secretaries too, who get those calls like day in, day out saying like the bus is 5 minutes late and all that. So I'm hoping it will ease the burden, you know, on the staff as well. So I think it'll be
Hope
good.
so.
Yeah, and including yourself.
And Lauren, yeah.
Lauren, yeah.
Okay.
Question, quick
Oh,
question
sorry.
that I have is there a, can, like, if grandparents are picking students up at bus stops, then are they able to,
Yeah, it
To-
can be
to-
caregivers, yeah. We can
that-
set
that-
it up so that multiple people can, yeah, have access to it.
Yeah.
You know, whoever's caring for the child, yeah.
beautiful, okay, good. Thank you, sir.
Okay, other things we have going on, we just received notice that we received another $72,000 grant for the Acceleration Academy like we did last year. So we actually posted today for the coordinators for that and the teachers, and that will be running the week of August 15th. It'll be for K through 2 literacy, and then entering or rising 2 through 4 with math and 8 through 10 with math. So it'll be a 1-week program this year, so 72,000, so that was good. And I also have, we've been meeting, we actually met today to really form our agenda for our August 4th administrative retreat. So some of the things I know we want to talk about, the allergy policies and practices, as well as updated safety and security, et cetera. So when we have the August 4th retreat, we'll get some information and what progress we've made, and I'll be able to report back in our August meeting on that. Some of the other things, we obviously will be embarking on another update to our strategic plan, because with COVID and everything, that kind of is outdated, if you will. I mean, we obviously, last year, we used the acceleration roadmap from DESE to guide what the school improvement plans were with the fostering relationships, monitoring student understanding, et cetera. So we'll be using those priorities continuing, and just enhance and develop new and updated action plans and action steps with those priorities in mind. But I did want to just mention a couple of the things that we already have in place with our allergy and protocols and policies, if you will, and then obviously after the August 4th meeting, we can open that up for discussion and see what else we need to do. But just some of the things, as you probably know, you've probably looked, we do have a policy that is existing. Whether the committee wants to take a look at that, that will be up for discussion. But right now, it just says, you know, that food in the classrooms is strongly encouraged not to be had, like for celebrations, et cetera. And if it is, if people bring it in, principals and other admins should know about that, especially our nursing department. We do have the nurses, you know, work with our staff as far as the EpiPens and all of that. There's medical emergency plans put in place for students that have allergies. So there's a lot of things in place. I was talking to Katie, I love the idea of the elementary does the potty in a box kind of thing. So if they do food that the kiddos can bring in, they bring in their own that are packed by parents, kind of thing. But there's always certain more that we can do. Some of the things we're thinking about is just more allergy awareness and more allergy education for staff, especially. One of the things, simple things we think we're going to just do right away is signage. You know, more than just, we usually say like peanut-free zone, but allergy kind of thing. So we're open to looking at what else we can do to enhance the knowledge that everybody has and awareness, so, yeah.
Just quickly, you know, because of course I have a son who has an
Right.
allergy, so like I'm referencing that, and
Yeah.
I've had like great relationships with the teachers, and I like specifically
Yeah.
went in and made that a point to
Yep.
meet with the teachers. I don't know if that's necessarily something that's universal, but I think it would be helpful for the teachers and the parents, you know, whether it's virtual or something else, to have those conversations, just like an IEP, you know,
Exactly.
kind of thing. I think
Yep.
just, you know, just for full clarity and to start the conversation. So if you
Yeah.
kind of start to embed that.
Yes,
that
and
would be
it does happen, and I'm just, like, for example, during the first 2 days of school, like, the nurses will review those plans that we have with teachers, et cetera, and we certainly would encourage any parent that really has a heightened awareness and heightened anxiousness about their child's safety with that, to have those kind of meetings. So, anyway, we'll have more to report on in August, but we're on it. I just wanted folks to know that. That will be some of the things we're working on, again, as along with the strategic plan. I also I invited Ryan Shea here tonight, just as a brief, as you know, He's been working hard throughout the summer, meeting with staff. Staff has been coming in. They wanted to come in to kind of talk about some of the practices that have happened at the high school and what they would like to see changed and enhanced. So one of the big things is our cell phone policy and practice, which has been a real issue. So I just asked Ryan, the reason I asked Ryan to come tonight to give a very quick synopsis, I'm going to ask him to come back in August once we have more details to share, but I wanted you to be aware of what was happening because we do want to send out information to parents of some of the updated things that are happening. So I asked Ryan to come, and I think we have...
You know, this word brief like 4 times. That's
Yeah.
because my initial was
Yeah.
20 slides.
Yeah,
So I'm not taking
and
20
this
slides
is,
again.
yeah, so this was not on the agenda, but it will be, high school practices that are shifting for next time. But I just, as I said, it's important for you all to know because we are gonna be sending information out to parents, so they'll be prepared of the shifts, some of the shifts. So, Ryan?
Yeah, so the big first and foremost is I want to thank the administration and the teacher staff that have come in. We've had about 23 people the last 2 sessions. We have one tomorrow too. Really, we're just looking at our practices and saying, is this working and is it not working? And if it's not working, let's see if we can change and do better. We owe that to our student body. So we updated our cell phone policy, and I'm going to tell you quickly why, and I promise I won't take you. Some of the major highlighted facts you're going to see, their stats are based off our students. The interesting one, the third bullet on the teen side is 52% of students want to take a step back, and they can't. They're afraid they're addicted. We see the addiction constantly. A prime example is I remember Mr. Martin and I were meeting with a student, and I said to the student, can you give your cell phone for a week? And I think Mike looked at me and said, let's start with an hour. And you could see the fear in the student's face, too, of just like that possible. So it is a concern. This is why we did it. We also want to clarify that we had an old expectation and a new expectation. Our old expectation was good, but again, everything we look at from a lens of if it's not working, why we keep on doing that. So the old policy was referred teacher control and teacher discretion, and it would be considered insubordination at break of it. We wanted to clearly define to our students what that truly means. So as a school, we came together and said the first offense in the classroom is that the teacher will take the phone and it will be a 5-minute after session. The reason why we want that 5-minute after session is that reflective practice. It's not going to make you fully miss your bus. It's not going to make you behind, but it does give you a conversation with the teacher of check-in and say, hey, listen, this is why it's important. Your grades, they might show your grades impacted of it. They might show your peer relationship. It gives that connection to the teacher and the student right away to say, this is impacting your life in the classroom. The second offense is when it becomes an after session with the teacher for 30 minutes. Third offense is when it gets put to the AP, 60-minute after session, and the fourth offense is a parent meeting. How are we going to do this though? Because that's a lot. That's a lot. What we're going to do is in every classroom we're going to create a cell hotel. If you think of like shoe racks behind your closet door, they're a little classier than that, I would say, but that's the idea of it. They're numbered in the classroom. Students check in. They drop their phone in it, or technology too. We're including AirPods as well. One of the things that we've noticed this year is that's a form of cheating as well, because you can put the AirPod in and you can text the answer to your friend and you get the Siri reading the answer to you in your ear. So we want to be cognizant that there are many ways that we have to help our students and support through these years. We also are aligning with the other schools. The middle school and the elementary school, they all have policies that are keep them in the locker, keep them away from you. We know that even if it's docked on your desk, it's just as distracting as if you're looking at it. I'm going to talk about that next week or next month. But just so you know, that's how we're doing it. Teachers, if they are using it for a lesson, though, we're encouraging it. Dr. Bangs talked about how he might want students to take photographs throughout a lab for their lab report. Encourage it. Go get it out of your number, take a picture, go put it back. We also have it in the classroom because one of the concerns we know parents are going to say is, what if there's an emergency and my kid's nearby? That's why we're keeping it in there. We also encourage any other communication, though. We really prefer that you call the front to get in touch with our students, like when we were in school as well. But we don't want them taking our eyes off our learning, because every time we get a text or every time we get an alert or every time we get a buzz, our eyes go off our learning, we miss part of the lesson, we come back. So that's kind of the reason for the policy. And that's a quick synopsis. I promise there's a lot more in depth. There's a lot more science behind it. And again, it is not an admin team. It is not a teacher thing. This is a Dartmouth High School approach together with everyone on the same page.
Very good.
So, Mr. Shea, just a quick question, because I know, like, looking, back at the end of last year, another issue were the kids, leaving and certain students being in the bathroom, like, multiple times throughout the day. And when we heard from Mr. Tebow, and we had talked about, and this might be coming into what you're talking about at security on your August 4th retreat, have you looked into the Easy Pass or something akin to that for the fall? Or is that going to be part of the conversations, I guess, as you head in about how to mitigate that? And I would say it seems to be extreme with the bathroom issues in particular, but I'm just kind of curious how you're navigating through that and what your thoughts are.
Yeah, absolutely. So all of that is exactly where we're at. So I'm glad we're on the same page with this. We are looking into the e-hall pass as an option, or piloting it, or going full in. That is one of our conversations of topics as well too, is of monitoring it. We would like it. We would like it for the whole school, but we're going to look at all of our options for that. I agree. We would say that with Mr. Martin and I as APs, cell phones were behind every issue we had. Whether it was a texting issue from the bathroom to another student, whether it's I use this example with Dr. Gifford today, is that when I was in high school, if I was in class and I tripped and I fell, everyone laughs, I get a round of applause, and I kind of go home at the end of the day and it's gone. Now it's recorded, it's shared, it's memed, it doesn't end. And that's why you see like depression rates across the board, because you cannot escape it. You used to be able to go home and that was your safe place, and now you can't escape it. My belief is school should be a safe place, and that's one of the ways we're going to make it a safe place, is we're going to take that out of that control back.
That's good. Okay, thank you.
And as Ryan said, this is just one of the topics that the school has been coming together during the summer to talk about. And
Yeah. A lot of people are giving up summer days for us, nice beach days, and I appreciate it. So,
Anybody else?
I mean, I just look forward to hearing more, and I just want to say to you, because we didn't really get to, and I haven't met with you yet, although you've reached out, I really appreciate your approach to, reaching out to all of your stakeholders and really from that inside out, kind of stepping in to say, well, how can we work together? I love your approach, and I think it's going to work well for the Dartmouth High School community. So that's a lot, but I look forward to hearing more
appreciate
next
that.
meeting. Yeah.
Shannon?
Yeah, I don't have anything. I mean, I think it's great.
At the moment, yeah.
Yeah.
I had a meeting with Mr. Shea last week, and he was kind enough to brief me on some of the things going on, and this was one of them, and I wholeheartedly support what he's doing. So good luck, and here to support you.
thank you very
Thank
much,
you, sir.
everyone.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks.
That's it.
That's it. All right. Any questions for the superintendent?
I do.
Huh?
Just Dr. Gifford,
Yep.
as we get in, and I think this is for us as well, do we have to, again, like review our masking policy? Is it something that we're going to continue to have optional next year? Or are we going to encourage students not to wear? I'm just curious, is that something as a policy that we have to come back and revisit? Because it seems to be optional now. Are we going to maintain that? Or
Yeah, I can't even remember. What was the policy?
Because
we
we
went back
repealed
to the
it.
policy.
now,
Then
I'm
we
just curious,
didn't
do we want
vote,
to
you know?
discourage them?
Yeah, yeah,
from
yeah.
No,
wearing them,
it's
or
an-
repealing, whatever your
okay,
comfort
Ryan.
is?
Yeah. No,
Ryan.
we don't need to take
We
another vote.
only have to vote if we want to
If we
reinstate
want
a
to,
mask
if we
mandate.
have to
which we
yeah,
don't.
because we had that
Right.
big discussion, if we had to, reinstate it,
People are
if
welcome to
Desi
wear
comes
them
back,
if
they're
they
welcome
want.
to
That's
wear
fine.
them, that type of deal, so,
Okay.
that's fine.
Thank you.
Okay. Me, just a couple of things. The New Bedford Standard Times has started with their spring athletes, their super teams and honorable mentions and things of that nature, and we've had, several of our athletes in the different sports. Sorrel Lawton, for one, is the top lacrosse player.
Lacrosse, yeah.
And, which was great, and we've had some of our other students get in with baseball and boys lacrosse and girls lacrosse and that type of deal, so, and girls softball, so congratulations to them as they go forward. We're not scheduled to meet till towards the end of August. Mr. Kiley, you gonna have any warrants, or if you do, let us know?
I will. I'll keep you posted. There's, as you can tell by the warrant you looked at today, there's a little bit of a lull in that we're really just now ordering things for the new year. And we had done what I would say, a pretty good job of cleaning up the old year stuff, so we don't have a lot of that stuff to pay yet, any of the remaining items, so, but I'll keep you posted. It
Okay.
is almost a month away till that next
Yeah.
meeting, so we may need to do one at
Okay.
some point.
Okay, well, let us know. Thank you. That's all I have. Anybody else have anything? Okay. That being said, our next meeting is scheduled for August 22nd, which is a Monday, at 5 PM here. So with that, please enjoy the rest of your summer. Be safe, especially to our students. Think before you act, and come back to us safe in September. So by the time we get back going here, at the end of August and such, we'll be having football camps and band camps will be going, and all the fall sports, so school will be back and going, so that's it. All right, so with that, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Dr.
second.
Jenkins. Moved by Ms. Amaral, second by Dr. Jenkins.
was me,
Oh,
but-
Maris, wait, whatever.
Good.
Who cares? It's there.
That's right.
Any, chair hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much and enjoy your summer.
Okay.